Japan, a land of breathtaking beauty, ancient traditions, and unsettling darkness. Beneath the serene landscapes and bustling cityscapes lie whispers of another realm, where spirits roam and shadows dance. These are tales brought back from the East, whispered accounts of encounters with the ethereal. Stories that chill the bone and linger in the mind long after the telling. Prepare yourself, for we journey now into the heart of fear, to Okinawa and Tokyo, where two chilling encounters await. The humid Okinawa air hung heavy, thick with the smell of salt and something else. Something ancient and unsettling. I was stationed at Kadena Air Base, a sprawling testament to American military might on this chain of islands steeped in history and folklore. My new home, an old concrete barracks, its paint peeling like sunburnt skin. The other guys joked about it being haunted. I laughed it off, but a shiver always crawled down my spine whenever I stepped inside. Little did I know, those jokes would morph into chilling reality. My first few weeks were uneventful, filled with the mundane routines of military life. But then, the silence of the barracks started to feel different. Not peaceful, but expectant. Like something was watching, waiting. One night, lying in my bunk, I felt it. A cold spot settled over me, and two distinct presences made themselves known. They weren't menacing, more like curious observers. Silent, watchful, always just on the periphery of my senses. I told myself it was my imagination. I was wrong. The presence of the two watchers, as I began to think of them, became a constant. A feeling of being observed followed me everywhere within the barracks. It was most intense in my room, a palpable coldness that seeped from the walls. I tried to rationalize it, blamed it on the island's humidity, the old building's poor insulation. But deep down, I knew better. These weren't physical sensations, they were something else entirely. One night, I woke with a start, the feeling of being watched almost unbearable. My eyes darted to the corner of the room where I could have sworn I saw two fleeting shadows. They vanished as quickly as they appeared, leaving me in a cold sweat, my heart pounding like a drum in the silence. The two watchers were growing bolder, their presence more insistent. Whatever they were no longer content to merely observe. Whispering dark, incoherent words. Just when I thought I could take no more, a new presence made itself known. This time, it wasn't watching, it was protecting. A warm light blossomed in the corner of the room, pushing back the oppressive darkness that had descended with the woman in white. I couldn't make out a form, but the light pulsed with a reassuring energy. It felt strong, protective, like a shield against the terror that gripped me. The woman in white shrieked again, her form flickering violently as the light intensified. The light seemed to hold the woman at bay, its warmth slowly filling the room. The air grew lighter, the oppressive chill receding like a bad dream. With one final ear-splitting wail, the woman in white vanished, leaving behind only the faint scent of decay and the comforting warmth of the protective light. As quickly as it appeared, the light faded, leaving me in stunned silence. Whatever it was, it had saved me. But from what and why?
Years later, long after leaving Okinawa, I found myself drawn back to Japan. This time, it was the bustling metropolis of Tokyo that called, its neon-lit streets a stark contrast to the humid stillness of Okinawa. I was staying in a traditional ryokan, its tatami floors and paper walls whispering of a simpler time. Or so I thought. My room was small and cozy, filled with the scent of cedar and incense. Despite the calming atmosphere, a sense of unease settled over me. It started subtly, a prickling sensation at the back of my neck whenever I was alone in the room. The feeling intensified at night, a palpable weight pressing down on me, suffocating me. It was emanating from the closet. The closet door, slightly ajar, became an obsession. Every time I looked at it, I felt an icy dread creep up my spine. Sleep offered no respite, plagued by nightmares of being trapped in suffocating darkness. One night, unable to bear the oppressive atmosphere any longer, I decided to confront whatever lurked within. Heart pounding, I approached the closet, my hand trembling as I reached for the handle. As my fingers brushed the wood, a wave of cold air slammed into me, and the distinct feeling of malevolence washed over me. I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat. This was no ordinary presence. This was something dark, something angry. The room grew colder, the air thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. The shadows from the closet seemed to writhe and pulsate, taking on menacing shapes. Fear threatened to consume me, but I remembered the protective light in Okinawa. If calmness could ward off a malevolent spirit there, perhaps it could do the same here. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to remain calm. I closed my eyes and focused on the silence, on the stillness within. Slowly, the fear began to recede, replaced by a sense of resolve. This entity fed on fear, I realized. To banish it, I had to starve it. Opening my eyes, I stared into the darkness of the closet, no longer afraid. The shadows flickered and danced, but the oppressive weight had lifted. The air grew lighter, the temperature returning to normal. The presence, sensing my lack of fear, began to recede, the shadows retreating back into the closet until only the faintest chill remained. From that night on, the Ryokan room was peaceful. The presence never returned. My encounters in Tokyo taught me that the spirit world is real, filled with both benevolent and malevolent entities. And sometimes, the greatest weapon against fear is not aggression, but the unwavering strength of inner peace. These experiences have stayed with me, a chilling reminder that the line between our world and the next is thin indeed. Listen closely, and you might just hear the whispers of the unseen, carried on the wind, waiting to tell their tales.